So, I'm sorry for Voce and all. I mean, it really sucks that he was voted out for no good reason, but I just can't wrap my head around the immunity thing. What drugs was Jeff on when he came up with that? Hey everybody, how's it going? I am the Survivor Dude with you with episode 2 of the season 41 of Survivor, and here we go into it. Voce voted off. I was sad to see him go, and I was sad to see him go just because I feel like this wasn't his fault. Like I said going into this episode, my prediction was that Voce was in trouble, but I thought for the most part he was proving me wrong in this episode. I mean, it was Xander who was doing all the crazy over-the-top stuff that was drawing people's attention, and Tiffany was just so bad in the challenges that I thought it had to be at least one of them that was going on. And then Voce just gets voted off and sent off the door with one of the most... I was just flabbergasted at the logic behind this whole thing. I think it was a mistake, and I'm going to go into why. I mean, obviously not a mistake for Tiffany. I think it was a mistake for Tiffany as well. I do. This might be a time where I think everybody might have voted wrong, but we'll get into it. Let's just catch up with all the tribes. We're not getting too much from the blue tribe, and that's of course because they keep winning. We got, Nasir showing how nice he is and how skillful he is, and it's actually interesting that it seems to be taking like an effect on the tribe. We got little Sydney there. She's like, oh yeah, we should actually keep this here around. He's very strong and very helpful, and it helps us survive over here. Deshawn seems to be like at least agreeing with her at the moment, and that they seem to be at least getting on with her. So that leaves either Heather or Erica on the chopping block over there if we're believing what we're, led to believe. It's interesting because the tribes are in a very interesting straits right now because on the blue tribe they haven't had to vote anybody off, but you can still see some battle lines being drawn. Sydney seems to be the one who I think is in the best position on the blue tribe because she's positioned herself behind Deshawn and Danny, and so I feel like for Sydney, she's just like, okay, let me just be behind these big guys. Eventually people are going to come after them, and I'll be sitting pretty when the things have to switch up eventually. We finally got a good look at Deshawn. I'm happy with him as my second winner pick right now. I think that out of all the guys, he's the one who has the best skill set in order to come out of this because let's just be real here. Xander, oh boy, is Xander in a bad position. Here's the thing. If I put myself in the shoes of the Beware advantage, if I came across an advantage that said Beware, I don't think I would take it. And here's the thing, because you want to take it. You want that in your position, in your power. Here's what I would do. I would say to one of my allies, like, hey, you want to go look for an immunity idol? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. And then I'd lead them to the area, let them find it, and then they see one. If it's good, then hey, it's good for us. If it's bad, then oh boy, that sucks for you, man. Too bad. Oh, shucks. That's a little bit of a dastardly thing to do to your ally, but at least I wouldn't be in Xander's position where he cannot vote. And it's not just the next vote. His vote's gone. He's like the only voting record he'll have better than in Survivor history is Eddie, and that's just because the guy voted wrong in like every tribal council. But Xander, yeah, he's in an interesting position where like he might possibly have some power and still has the extra vote power, might be able to use that down the line too. But until this power idol from 3 different idols happens, until that happens, he is pretty much in the lurch. And let's talk about that. Look, I've been actually a little bit of defending of these new twists to the game so far. I like the shot in the dark. I like what that can do to the game. I like the ship's wheel, even though in this episode it was a kind of a little bit of a, oh, okay, well that's just that. But, oh boy! Do I hate this twist on the idols. First of all, because it explicitly allows at least one person on every tribe to know who has the idol. That's the first reason I don't like it. Because one person has to say, butterflies are dead spirits of my ancestors. Another person says, broccoli is just tiny trees. Another person has to say, the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. I don't even know what it was. But it's just like, what kind of high, stupid thing? But then the person who has this idol knows that that person has an idol, and they know that person has an idol. And they're going to share that information with their allies. Xander's definitely going to share that information. So there is a 0% chance that somebody's going to be walking away with a immunity idol that people don't know about, which is going to be tricky to play them effectively going forward. I think this will just make everyone play their idols just to keep themselves safe and not play it to make any big outlandish move. And, what happens if Xander gets voted off? Is the Beware advantage re-hidden? Does he have to say that every single tribal council? Because saying it once, okay, you can play it off. If you say it again, now people are going to notice. And if you have to say it a third time at another tribe reward immunity challenge, then everyone's just looking at you like, okay, dude, either let this bit die or, okay, there's something going on here. It's Survivor. You're suspicious of everything. Let's just see if there's anything else. On the Green Tribe, still loving Chantel. Still really happy with that as my number one winner pick. I mean, I still have Deshawn there as one of my winner picks as well, but I still say Chantel's my MVP of the winner picks that I have, and I think that it's a really interesting dynamic that's going on there. Brad, at first, I thought, after what happened last episode, Brad is like a lock to take to the end no matter what. But after this episode, I feel like he's trying to Tony it up, and that is a scary thing to do on this island. Because he did a spy shack thing. He was like, and then I hid underneath the tree. I don't know how Brad hid. The guy is the size of a mountain. But, okay, he hid in there, and he's like, I overheard them talking about stuff that's not really that huge in the game. I mean, I think Ricard might have been pushing JD to vote for Brad, maybe, but he wasn't outright saying it, so it's not like the information he got was all that important. And then he runs back and he's like, aha, perfect crime. Nobody got it. Nobody saw me. I'm golden. And Chantel's just like, hey, did you know that Brad was spying on you? You have to, if you're going to do a Tony and spy shack it up, then you need to be subtle and have nobody know it's you, that you're there except for your biggest ally, You can't be just, like everybody else saw you. Now, what we got going on there, we definitely have a shoring up of the alliances between Ricard and Chantel. They seem to be like, we got each other's back. We are number one to each other. That's an interesting thing to see because I feel like JD thinks he's in the number one spot with that. And I feel like Brad also feels like he's number one with Chantel just because he told Chantel everything about spying on them and he didn't tell that to JD. So I feel that means that Brad trusts Chantel more than he does with JD. So yeah, Chantel's still in a perfect spot. I keep on cheering for the Green Tribe, even though I don't feel like Chantel's in any real danger. But I want her numbers to be around. I want her to have an army that she's able to use. But Evie is also doing really well on what she was doing with Deshawn, forming alliances, because I like what Evie was doing. Because when the guys, all three of Danny and JD and Xander were all at the ship's wheel and stuff, they were all like, yeah, this could be a good alliance, this could be something, blah, 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 blah. But they didn't shore anything up. Evie hit the mat running, and she was like, hey, I know that my tribe's probably going to be coming into the merge lower in the numbers. How about we shore up something here? And just to let you know, I'll be giving you some information. Here's this. Here's what I know about the aisle. Here, I'm going to protect my vote. You're going to risk your vote and get a free extra vote. Very good alliance building. She's putting the feelers out there. She's getting, I think when Deshawn goes to his first tribal council and he's getting the thing, he's like, hey, you have an extra vote. He's going to be feeling really good about Evie and working with her down the line, as opposed to JD, Danny, and Xander, who are just like, hey, we had a conversation but really didn't shore anything up other than, hey, wouldn't this be nice? So yeah, she did really good in that regard. But then we come to the vote off of Voce, and I gotta say, Tiffany is out of her gourd. Like, I thought she was actually doing pretty cool and pretty good the last one, but no. This episode, she's paranoid beyond all reason. I mean, Evie literally has all the information. She says, Xander cannot vote. He doesn't have the idol. I've seen the clue. It's not that he lied to me. I've seen what the clue is and what people need to say back to him, and that didn't happen. She's like, but what if it did? It didn't, but what if it did? But it didn't, but what if it did? But it didn't, okay? Okay, but if it did, we gotta vote Voce. Do you realize, and I was talking about this with my wife earlier, and I just said, it dawned on me, I was like, Tiffany put herself in more danger by voting off Voce than by voting off Xander. Because think about it, right now, Xander doesn't have any power. He has a possible immunity idol in the future and an extra vote that he cannot use. But, if he gets to the next tribal council, or to the next immunity challenge, and he hears, and he says the things about the butterflies again, and let's say Chantel says her thing, and Deshawn says the thing on his side, and then he gets an idol, that means we have Tiffany, Liana, and Evie, and Xander, and now Xander has an idol, and he knows that he's not in the core of the alliance because Voce just got voted out. That means their only options are either to convince Xander to not play his idol, or vote off Tiffany. Because he could just play his idol, and then they vote for Xander, he votes for Tiffany, and then she's gone. Because I do feel like he would vote for Tiffany over anyone else, because even though he just got blindsided by Evie and Liana, although it seems like he might have known ahead of time, but either way, he didn't seem to like it. Even if he, he seems to at least have working relationships with them where he doesn't really have it with Tiffany. Tiffany might just have doomed her game by voting out Voce instead of Xander. I don't think it was a good idea for Tiffany. I don't think it was a good idea for, honestly, Evie and Liana, because think about this scenario. If you vote out Tiffany at this vote, let's just say you do that, and then the next vote comes along, Xander still might not have a vote, which means you two ladies, Evie and Liana, would carry the numbers and would probably, and with, like, let's be honest, I think Voce was super loyal to Evie and would have voted out Xander in a heartbeat over keeping, voting out either Evie. If Evie said, let's go vote out Xander over Liana, I think he would have gone with it. So, I think, I don't think this was a good move for anybody. Now, to be fair, here's the positives of the move. Evie gets to keep her women around. And now, look, I get that logic. Because it is a thing where a woman goes to the end with a guy and then they just all rat out on the woman for being emotionally manipulative or just riding the coattails of the guy, even when there's great possibility and lots of times where they did a lot of the work themselves. Dawn and Caramona did a lot of the work themselves and got a lot of the flack for it, even though she was playing almost the exact same game as Cochran did. I think that, though, the problem is, I think that Tiffany's a loose cannon, and you've seen already that sometimes you just can't change your mind on things. And Tiffany does not have the social capital to be demanding that it be one person or another. She was terrible in that challenge. She was like shimmying her way along the thing, and then just fell off. I mean, what was she doing? Like, that was like Jatia levels of bad. I'm just saying. And you're almost guaranteed to go to another tribal council. And look, I think that it's possible that if you went to the merge with it being Evie, Tiffany, and Liana, that those three are not going to be looked at as the biggest threats, and then the other two tribes would go after each other and use them as votes. Very possible. But I think it's also possible that somebody like Tiffany could scare away possible alliance mate because of how paranoid she is. But when it comes to, though, who do I gotta give MVP to? That is a very simple equation. I'm going to give the MVP of the episode. I had to actually really think about this. Actually, it wasn't all that simple, just because I don't agree with anybody's moves. And I didn't want to give it to Tiffany because, like, she's the reason Voce's gone. So, in all fairness to her, this is her move that she pushed forward. I think it's potentially costly to her game. and I think she kept her mouth shut and voted off Xander, I think she would have been fine. And she really could have screwed her own game up with this whole thing, and we'll have to wait and see if that's what she does. But I think if they lose another one and she has another embarrassing performance like last time, they might want to keep Xander around. Especially if he has that extra vote and a possible advantage to help them going forward. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's what I have to say about that. But I still think I'm giving Evie MVP of the world, her second one in a row. Just because she's in the best position on her tribe. She is running it. They're all like, oh, we gotta wait till Evie gets back and ask her what she thinks. She seems to be in the best position, and she's making good inroads with Deshawn that I think will probably pay dividends down the line. I think that the way she handled that was in a way that didn't blow up in her face. She didn't say, oh, I'm so loyal to Liana. She's being very vague on where her alliances are, but also being very forthcoming with information that's going to help them build an alliance in the future, and I think that's really good. So, a lot of people have complained about the trek up the hill, and look, I get that it's a little bit needlessly cruel, but at least I like that it is a chance for the players to socialize and get to know one another and form bonds and possible form alliances down the road. Here was an opportunity that they used the most out of it with Deshawn and Evie. It was the right pair going into it, and I think that they both played it really well. Evie is a favorite going in, but I wonder if this is just because we're getting so much of her early on. But I think that her being specifically all women go, 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 that could work to her advantage, but it could also blow up in her face. And the reason I say that is because every season we've seen guys be like, oh, gotta watch out for that woman alliance, even when there isn't a woman alliance to begin with. But here, there is. And if it's obvious that there's a woman alliance going on, that might be something that they might want to target and get rid of. But we'll have to wait and see. I still think that a woman is going to win this season. I don't think it's Tiffany. Let me just be clear here. But I think that a woman's going to win this season. I think it's going to be Chantel. But I could see a world where Liana or Evie wins it. I'm really interested to see what happens next. For predictions, I think it's next episode. I hope we get to see the Blue Tribe go to Tribal Council, and if we do, I think Erica might be going home. Just because we've seen Nasir ingratiate himself into the tribe. It could also be Heather. Heather also seems to be a little bit on the block, but I could also see it being either one of them, but I think Erica might be able to stay because she's been on the puzzle both times and she's rocked it both times, so it's possible that she might stay over anybody else. I want to see more of the Blue Tribe. I want to see where they're coming at. So, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But if the Yellow Tribe loses, I'm guessing that Evie's gonna throw Tiffany under the bus. Or Xander's gonna get his immunity idol, and then he's gonna get Tiffany gone. That's where I stand on the moment. For the Green Tribe, Brad seems to have now put himself in a precarious position. I still think Jeannie, though, we haven't heard diddly squat from her. We haven't heard about any of the alliances she's making. She came into the pregame talking about how an amazing social game she's had. I haven't seen any of it, and I think that might just be because maybe she's not really along for this game for much longer. In any case, that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am a Survivor. Yeah, I did MVP. I did predictions. Yeah, no, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye. Seriously, Tiffany, take a chill pill.